I'd like to begin in verse 3. And being in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at meat, there came a woman having an alabaster box of ointment of spikenard, very precious. And she brake the box and she poured it on his head. She sprinkled it, poured it and sprinkled it on his head. And there were some that had indignation within themselves and said, why was this waste of ointment made? For it might have been sold for more than 300 pence and have given to the poor. And they murmured against her because she had done this for the Lord Jesus Christ. And Jesus said, let her alone. Why trouble ye her? For she hath wrought a good work on me. For ye have the poor with you always, and whensoever ye will, ye may do them good. But me ye have not always. She hath done what she could. She is come aforehand to anoint my body to the burying. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached throughout the whole world, this also that she hath done shall be spoken of for a memorial of her. It's a very interesting record. First of all, that Jesus was in the house of Simon the leper. That'd be the last place you'd want to go if you were in a top position of responsibility and social prestige. But Jesus Christ always went down to where human needs were, and he ministered to people. And I can see the ridicule. I can see statements that were made against him because he just dared to go down where people had a need and minister to them. Imagine how blessed Simon the leper was to have Jesus there in his home. Imagine what a blessing it was to everybody to think that Jesus Christ was there in a home of a man called Simon the leper. And he sat at meat, which meant he ate with them. He ate with them. And then this woman came in. Her name is not given. And yet she did something that wherever this gospel is preached, like it is here tonight, that incident is still mentioned. This woman had collected this bottle of precious ointment, very costly. And instead of selling the money and giving it to the poor, which was recommended by one of the apostles, one would have thought they'd known better. They were poor. They didn't. She poured this or sprinkled it on the head of the Lord Jesus Christ. And what a tender thing to do. What a tremendous love that woman must have had in her heart to do this for the Lord Jesus Christ. I can see the picture, I can see it in my mind, of her heart just being so blessed because what Jesus Christ had done for her previously, what his teaching ministry had meant to her deliverance. And the greatest thing she had, the most loving thing she had, she gave to him. And of course, some of the people were very angry about it. They said, well, you know, you got poor people. Why didn't she sell the money and give it to, sell the ointment and give the money to, and buy things for the poor? And Jesus said, the poor you've got always. But she anointed my body for the burying. And wherever this gospel is preached, this is going to be spoken of as a memorial in memory of the greatness of what she did. And Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went unto the chief priests to betray him unto them. It really antagonized him. It should. He was the banker. Verse 11. And when they heard it, they were glad and promised to give him money. And he sought how he might conveniently betray him. The whole religious leadership and the political leadership ganged up on Jesus Christ for the crucifixion. I perhaps will handle this week at the Heartbeat Friday night in the telecast on how the religious group leaders and the political group leaders got together and how they operated and worked together to crucify the Lord Jesus. And here they were glad. They were glad that somebody out of the inner circle of the apostles themselves, can you imagine the apostles themselves, one of those men who had been so close to Jesus, for whom Jesus had bled out his heart, that this man would go to the enemies of Jesus Christ? Well, he did. They were glad. The enemy's always tickled when somebody busts out of the household and comes to them. And they promised to give him what? Money. So there's nothing new about buying people's loyalty or paying for their wrongdoing. And he sought how he might conveniently, without any great notice, but just sort of slyly betray Jesus. Verse 12.